It's so weird not being able to hear myself again.
Hmm?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Den of Weebs. I'm AJ.
And I'm Frankie.
We got a new little layout right now. See how it works out. Uh, we have been asked to review Spiritbox's album Eternal Blue. We're like stupid late on it, but figured we'd do kind of like I don't know, like a quick little review. Um, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over our top three songs and um, talk about them, and then overall just give a review of the album. And yeah, we can talk about it. And then we got a question that we're gonna ask at the end of the video. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I to keep them entertained, let's go over your top three. I want to go over your top three songs because you are very good at going in depth on what you like, and I'm not. So, what is your like overall? What is your favorite song on the album?
Well, let's go in like ascending order because I think that would be better because I think my top three will make a lot more sense. Or may make more sense once we kind of review and talk about the album a little bit more. But my third place one might surprise a lot of people because I have a feeling this is probably a lot of people's favorite. I would probably say my third favorite song on the album is Yellowjacket. Um, Yellowjacket is the heaviest song on the album, obviously, which
I
is
don't
set.
think it
And
was.
well, Courtney LaPlante said that. Like
I
when people were asking her a Q&A, they were like, everyone was asking, like, in your opinion, what's the heaviest song on the album? And they were like, and she was like, Yellowjacket by far. And I, at least from what I remember when I was reading the Q&As, which is surprising because I thought mostly it would probably be like Holy Roller or Silk in the Strings, one of those two.
yeah, I think
Um,
I think Holy Roller or Silk and the Strings was the two heaviest songs on the album.
yeah,
I
I
think
think
there's a
maybe
little
it's just
too I think there's a little too much singing in Yellow Jacket for it to really be like that. That's just my
yeah,
personal opinion.
I think the thing that is odd about Yellow Jacket and is the fact that obviously instrumentals are like crazy heavy, right? But the only singing in that song is from Sam Carter,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not even doing like traditional singing. He's doing like like his like yellings like slash screaming mix with his voice. So even the singing isn't just normal singing, which kind of, in my opinion, helps with the heaviness of the sound. Um, but I love it because it kind of reminds me in a sense of like what Cedar did with Amy Lee with Broken. How Amy Lee wasn't just like a verse in the song; she was legitimately like half the song. And that's how Yellow Jacket is with Sam Carter. Like he's not there, he doesn't just do a verse or he doesn't just do the chorus. Like he's there right in the first part of the verse. He does the chorus um with Courtney screaming along with him. And it genuinely feels like a duet between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just like it's a perfect example of how unique this album is because it's not this song has kind of like the robotic kind of talking thing that you hear a lot in modern metal, and then it goes into her her screams, which are fucking clean as shit. You get all ranged vocals from Sam, which I think is fucking awesome. And Nick Nocturnal brought this up, and I did not think about it until he said it. But man, Mike loves bending those strings, man. Mike bends those strings constantly, and I absolutely love it. Like everything about the song is great. Like it starts off kind of slow, like just for like 10, 20 seconds, and then immediately just like drops in, and it just doesn't stop from there. And it's so good. I love it.
It's so good.
All right. And then, so do you want to go back and forth on our favorites, or do you just want me to do all of mine?
We can go back and forth. I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Okay.
We can do that. I'm trying to get your volume straight. So my third favorite song is Sun Killer.
You know what?
100%.
I respect that because I actually was going back and forth really hard whether I like Sunkiller or Yellowjacket more. Like the difference between them is minimal.
My what's the best way to describe it? Um it like if there was it's such a solid intro to this album. It's like it's it's the perfect intro for them in general because if you have never heard Spiritbox and you heard Sunkiller, you'd be like, okay, this is like amazing, and then it just gets better and better, and you can kind of get a feel for their formula on Sunkiller, but it's also I'm trying to think of the best way to. It was refreshing in a sense
Yeah.
because never heard the song before. It follows kind of their formula, but it also wasn't like anything that they've released before. Like we've been over that time and time again about how everything they put out just it sounds different. Um, but recently with the stuff that they had been putting out, they weren't really sticking to their formula. Like
Mm.
when you go on, it's like you have like Hurt You didn't follow their formula, completely different sound, and then you had Secret Garden, which was like completely
Here,
different.
I actually want to pull this up real quick because
Mm-mm.
um reading this stuff when I was oh, it's not on here now. Well, that's unfortunate. So I'll have to look this up at some other point, but one thing that I really liked is like when I started streaming this album, because I use Apple Music, is it had Courtney did kind of like a mini interview, I guess, or an interview with Apple Music, and it had explanations for each of the songs. And it ties in perfectly to what you said because like Hurt You is a great example. Like they wanted to try and implement a lot of new metal stuff, and that's what they did with Hurt You. 100, and it's
Yeah.
cool seeing like I agree with you because I think early Spirit Box, like their singles collabor or their singles like mix with like like Rule of Nines, Blessed Be and stuff like that
Yeah.
was their formula. And Eternal Blue is their album where they're like, this is what we're going to be and changing everything. And Sun Killer 100% is like the perfect song design. I remember hearing it and just being like, holy shit.
Well, it was like if you pull it up real quick,
Where do you need me to go?
just go to like 250.
Okay.
Okay. So this like the beginning of the song was just like great, you know? And
Hmm.
then as I was talking about before, like we went over like Hurt You, Secret Garden, and then the biggest one for me that like threw me for a long shot was Holy Roller because they never released anything like that before.
Hmm.
And this like you had like the whole concept of like Sunkiller and then like the ending like breakdown part of Sunkiller gave me Holy Roller vibes, but not at the same time. And I think it was like
Hmm.
perfect for like this is like how heavy we can get, but like we can just listen to it real quick. So I'll go ahead and do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Sun killer, sing me to sleep.
It's so fucking good.
Sun killer, sing me to sleep.
Yeah. So like the
Like
so
that dropped, and I was like, I remember I was on my way to work, and I was like, I was in awe. Like when it dropped, I was like, holy fucking shit.
You know
this is
what? If I'm
actually
gonna be
insane.
honest, I think when that dropped, I was in my car and I literally went, "Holy
Yeah,
shit!" like out loud.
yeah.
Um, so I am in a conundrum because I think I might actually have to change my number three because you just made me realize something that I didn't realize, and this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been listening to this other band like just the past couple days. Um, so for one, I don't think you can acknowledge how great Sunkiller is without acknowledging how amazing Sunkiller, followed by Hurt You, followed by Yellowjacket is as the three opening tracks because they literally transition perfectly into each other,
Hmm.
and the way they scale up, like obviously Sunkiller like starts off with her singing, like gets heavy, and then Hurt You is like more heavy because it has more screaming with like the singing in the chorus and has like the new metal. And then Yellowjacket comes in with her and Sam Carter just being fucking ridiculous. But the thing you just made me realize with Sunkiller is, for one, you can tell shit is about to happen when it does the part that you were just talking about, right? When it's just like has her
Yeah,
talking like really low, and you never really know what Spiritbox is gonna do, but you know when shit's about to hit the fan.
yeah,
And as soon as that you heard that, you're like, shit's about to happen.
yeah.
Like, I'm not ready for this, but shit's about to go down. And it reminds me of my what I now recognize as my favorite Rise Against song. So they have a song called Tip the Scales off of their album Appeal to Reason. And I don't think there is ever a moment in a song that gets me as hype as the end of that, because it does kind of the same thing. It does the whole song. The whole song's like crazy, like punk as they normally do. And then it kind of has this slow break, this kind of like slow section. And then it has just the instrumentals kind of building back up. And then the end has like this breakdown type thing that is just fucking insane. And that's exactly how they do Spearbox does Stun Killer. And I don't know. I think I might have to get Stun Killer my number three spot. At the very least, I think it's tied with Yellow Jacket. So we're gonna say Stun Killer slash Yellow Jacket. But I think you just made me realize it is Stun Killer.
Well, you can't cheat. You gotta pick one, man.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Sun Killer. I think I
Okay.
think I have to give it to Sun Killer. I love Yellow Jacket, man, but that ending for Sun Killer is just fucking
Yeah.
insane.
I'm a basic bitch. I like my breakdowns, and it'll easily make a favorite song of
Dude,
mine. So
if it has the best break, AJ when he's going looking through the songs, he's just like, which one has the best breakdown? Who's got the best breakdown?
basically.
You? Okay.
Yeah. Um no, I thought this was they picked a great opening song.
hmm
And it's like you were saying, you know when shit's about to hit the fan with Spirit Box, but you never know how insane it's gonna be.
Yeah. You
And
don't know what's
yeah,
gonna happen. You just know it's like it feels like in a horror movie when like the suspense is building, you're like, oh fuck,
yeah,
something's coming. It's like you know something's coming, you just don't know what it is. That's Spirit Box to a T. Spirit Box is a horror movie.
yeah.
And I don't like horror movies, but I love Spirit Box.
Like that is how God, what is the best way to describe it? Like that's how I felt during Constance when I wasn't like having an emotional breakdown while listening to it because you knew one, it's Courtney and her writing, which is in fucking insane, and then everybody else in the band doing everything else on top of that. Just yes, we all know how we feel about this band.
Yeah.
But you didn't know what was gonna happen, but they still stuck to their like normal formula with their instrumentals. But it was like, I mean, it was like a horror movie where it was like, is something gonna happen? Is something gonna happen? And then like you finish and like you didn't get a breakdown, but like you were done, and there were times when a breakdown could happen, and then you go in and you read the backstory of like why she's only singing on the album, and you're just like, this is like actually insane. and
Yeah, because I
it
actually
makes
didn't
you
know the
appreciate it.
reason. Yeah, I
So
actually didn't know the reason she only sang on it until recently. Like
yeah,
that her grandma wanted her to have a song where she only sang. Like I
hmm
had no idea about that. But no,
yeah,
I agree. And I think the other thing with Sun Killer is just like you said, is part of what helps them have that buildup is like their use of ambient sound, right? Because it has like that kind of weird, like ambient pulsing sound where it's
hmm
not like the guitar, it's not the drums, it's not really anything. And it's just like that going along with like her talking vocals, and then it's just cuts, and then it's just fucking breakdown, and then
yeah.
you're just like, what the fuck?
But
Such a good way to end it.
I could keep like going in all different directions. So let's go ahead and get into your number two.
Okay, so uh, these next two songs are probably gonna be even more surprising. So my second favorite song, I think I have to in this and my first place spot have been going back and forth really hard, but I think I'm gonna stick to my gut. And this may tentatively change, but for the time being, I'm fairly confident with this. I have to give it to the self-titled track. I have to give it
Eternal
to
Blue.
Eternal Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eternal Blue is another one of those songs where so Courtney was open that that was like one of the first songs that she wrote for the album. Like this is one of the first songs she wrote for the album. Circle with Me is like the very last one they
hmm
wrote in studio. Um, but for one, it's I really like the songs on this album where Courtney flexes how far she has come as a vocalist and how much she's willing to challenge what it means to be in heavy music and what it means to be in metal. And with a community that can be very, very like gatekeeping and very opinionated on how metal needs to sound, the fact that she has so many songs on this album where she only sings,
hmm
those end up being some of my favorite, if not my favorite songs. By, you can look at this one. But for one, like her vocal style is so like you just see her use her voice in a completely different way. The instrumentals are beautiful, like the guitar, drums, everything. And once again, the writing is just really, really beautiful. Like the way that you look at it with like depression and like relationships with other people, like the image once again, just like the imagery with how she writes the song coupled with how she performs it is like it's like the best way I can explain it is like very captivating. Like it makes you want to keep listening to it. And I love and the other thing about it is the reason I love it so much is the way that it transitions and appears on the album. Because like the way it goes is like, you have your first three tracks that are like just really fucking heavy. Or so you go from like Sun Killer Hurt You to Yellowjacket, and then you have the Summit, which is ju- very properly named because like you hit this peak and then it kind of mellows out and it brings it back down kind of with that and Secret Garden. And then you go to Silk and the Strings and Holy Roller, which gets really fucking heavy again. And then you come in with Eternal Blue. That's like a very like singing, beautiful sounding song. And you go to We Live in a Strange World, which that's just a weird fucking song that's amazing. And I don't
Yeah.
understand how they fit that on the album.
Yeah.
And then you kind of mellow out with Halcyon, however you pronounce that,
Yeah.
um, Circle with Me, and then it like comes down and finishes with Constance, right?
Let me
Just
hold on because I have this up right now, and we're about to hear how you say that song.
Halcyon.
Halcyon is
Halcyon. Okay,
is what it
yeah,
sounds.
because that makes sense because where the letters are placed. But like the way that they pace out and position every song is so well done, and that's one of the reasons I was so excited to hear this album is because I know how much care they took in with it. And Eternal Blue following such a heavy song where Holy Roller is about this person who's like clearly not good and touches on like religion and things like that, and then you hear this really personal song about like depression and what sounds like her dealings or relationships with another person is just really beautiful. And as far as I know, because I haven't heard this on any other Spirit Box song, we got a Mike guitar solo.
Yeah.
And that was fucking dope. I was not expecting it. I was like, oh shit, Mike going off. So that was something I was not expecting. And it was because, like, obviously we all appreciate how fucking crazy Mike is on the guitar, but it's cool to see him have a solo. And it wasn't like crazy shredder style. Like, it was perfect for the song. Like, it wasn't out there, but it still sounded fucking crazy. But yeah, I think Eternal Blue's got to be my second favorite song. It's I've been listening to it a shit ton, and it is just everything about it's just really beautiful. I love it. That's the best way I can explain it. It's just a really beautiful song.
It is. Yeah. It is very beautiful. Is it my go?
Yep.
Okay, so my second favorite song is the song we just learned how to say.
Halcyon.
Halcyon.
Ooh. Ooh.
This song took me by surprise. It is just I gotta pull it up real quick and listen to it. So
I thought
I'm gonna kind of turn it down a little bit, but like the very beginning of the song, amazing. Like starts off, it's just like solid like metalcore when it's starting. Just, and then, dude, like right now, she starts singing on this song, and I'm like, this is like the intro to an anime. Like when she started singing, and I was like, this is absolutely insane. And then, because it like I got chills when she started singing because I listened to this whole album on my way to work because I live like forever away, and
that's true.
This hit, and I was like, oh my god, this is like actually insane. And then, boy oh boy, it starts building up, and that fucking she starts. It's like the singing and then straight to screaming. There's no breakdown. Like the way that it just hits, and I was like, you're fucking kidding me right now. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah,
And
I
then the
remember 'cause
breakdown, of course, is just yeah.
it's funny because I was like, Mr. Forehead wanted to hear a couple songs from the album, and one of them was Halcyon, and I was like, this song gets heavy, and it starts out, and then she goes into singing. I was like, wait, was I mixing this up with another song? I was like, I thought it was heavier than this, and then it hit the part where you
Yeah.
were talking about when it jumped straight into screaming. I was like, there
Yeah.
it is. That's
Because it
what I
does
was
that.
thinking.
And she starts like going back and forth between singing and screaming, and then of course Spiritbox's formula, it goes straight into the breakdown that is gonna melt your face off, which is of course, another move to, just get me going. So yeah, there's that. I thought this song 100% it was up there for me. It was a very
and
very good song.
and it's once again just like you said. I think like with her just switching, how easily she switches between singing and screaming just shows how great of a vocalist she is, because like obviously people can do both, but switching between those things is not the easiest thing to do, especially in a clean way, and
Mhm.
especially not doing it that quick. And Courtney's just like, I can do it. She's like, I don't care. She's
Yeah.
like, ain't tough for me.
Yeah.
She's
So
like, I do this shit. She's like, when I snore or scream, she's like,
yeah. This was one of those songs where like I had to go back and I was like, yeah, this is up there for me.
yeah.
Cuz it sticks out. It's like one of those songs when you're like listening to like any band in general and you're just like this is an opening for an anime.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. I got that same feeling too when listening to it.
So
That in
yeah.
is this as heavy as I remember it? And then it hits me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It surely is. It isn't what I expected.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I already know what your number one is, but let's go ahead.
I'm
And
interested. What do you think it's gonna be?
I think it's Summit.
Aha! Yes, you are correct, sir. It is the summit. What a properly named song for my properly named number one spot. We have reached the summit of my list, and the song itself is named properly. Um, just like I was saying, like when we were talking about like how the album like is placed and how everything builds, like this song following Yellowjacket is so absolutely perfect because the
Mhm.
name is perfect for not only just the theme of the song, but oh hi Dutch. All right, goodbye Dutch. Um Perfect for like the way the song is written, but to follow Yellowjacket after Sunkiller Hurt You, Yellowjacket after the way it builds like that
Yeah.
is perfect too because it feels like you're hitting like the summit of like the album, like that kind of like that almost dead center point, right?
Hmm.
But the way the writing in that song is so fucking crazy. And also, she once again does something that she does in other songs, but I think it's the most prevalent in this song. And it's actually it's one of the reasons that I like this song by Periphery that you showed me a while back, Garden in the Bones, is she implements a lot of pop style vocal techniques.
Hmm.
And with like her interview with Apple Music, she was talking about she called out like a few artists that she listens to that's like in like hip hop and like pop, and she was like, I like the way they played around with like leading back down and up at the end of like lines and things like that. And she was like, I wanted to do something like that. And this song is just incredible in every way because once again it challenges the way like what heavy music is supposed to be. It is a perfect example of how crazy Spirit Box is because like during the verses it kind of has with the guitar like the not really distorted sound that you hear in some of the heavier songs. Um it kind of reminds me of like some of the parts that you hear like in Circle with Me. Like it's kind of soft with the guitar as she's singing through it, and then it gets into the chorus, and then it gets like, obviously the instrumentals get a lot heavier and the vocals just fucking go crazy. And then near the end when it gets into the breakdown, you have her still singing, but then you have her screaming like in the background, kind of mixed in with
Yeah.
it. And it just adds this whole different element. And then you get back into the chorus where she belts, and then you get to the end of it where she starts like really cranking the vocals, very similar to how she does in Circle with Me at the end. And it's just everything about the song is amazing. Like it is the one song like if I get a feeling to like listen to songs on the album, like maybe I want to listen to Hurt You or like I want to listen to Yellow Jacket. If the Summit ever comes up, I can't skip it. Like I can't skip that song to go to any other song.
Yeah.
Like if I listen to Yellow Jacket, I'm listening to the Summit. And that's just gonna happen. It doesn't matter if I want to listen to another song. It's going to be, oh, I want to listen to Yellow Jacket, and then I want to listen to like Eternal Blue or We Live in a Strange World. Well, I'm gonna be listening to Yellow Jacket, The Summit, then We Live in a Strange World
Hmm.
because that song just doesn't get skipped. Um, but no, it is just once again, it's another example of like a really beautiful song, and I love it because it's another. This was actually the first song that I showed Mr. Forehead, and when she was listening to it, she was like, "This is not what I was expecting at all." And I'm like, "This is a perfect example of what Spiritbox is." Like Spiritbox is a band that you listen to and you're like, "Oh, they're a metal band or they're a metalcore band or like they're a heavy band." And you listen to them and they are nothing like what you expect them to be from a lot of what you would expect to be in heavy music. And I love that. And
Hmm.
it's just because their range of sounds is so vast and this is just like a perfect example of what Spirit Box is. I love it. It's so good. It's so good.
It's a very good song.
I think I know what your number one is going to be. I
yeah.
think
What is it?
Is it Silk in the Strings?
Yeah, of course it is.
I knew it. It's I had to, what's the song that's heavy and got the craziest breakdown? That's the AJ pick.
So
We know each other too well.
this was this this was the song
It's the
that
chunkiest
came
song.
on. It came on, and I remember like the interview where Courtney was like, "Yeah, no, Yellowjacket's the heaviest song on her album," and I was like, "I'm not here to question the artist that's saying what the heaviest song is, but like, I don't think she's right." I was like,
Yeah,
"This song is dirty, dude. It's like borderline deathcore at some points," and
yeah.
I was just like, dude, just the intro. I'm gonna pull it up real quick so that they can hear it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you honestly that Silk in the Strings is the heaviest one because even Nick Nocturnal when he was doing the review of it, he was like Courtney putting deathcore vocalists to shame, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, kind of.
Just the intro to the song is dirty, dude.
Like it fucking slap. And once again, I think it's just like how the summit like leads down from Yellowjacket. This song stalks you in the face after
Yeah.
Secret Garden.
Yeah,
Like
I was
it's just like
I was just like, dude, I heard this song. I'll put it this way, and I think this can go with anybody. I was like, Lorna Shore put out that they were releasing a new song. I was like, okay, fucking sick. I can't wait to hear this new vocalist. I waited and waited for them to release it on Spotify. It finally came out. I remember I was listening to it on my way home, and I remember it being so good that I listened to it for 30 minutes straight, all the way to my house. And I just remember, like everybody else on the internet, when they first hear that song, you're just like, this makes no fucking sense, like how this is happening right now. And that's what I was when this song came on. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how is this happening right now? I just remember I like kept repeating it, and I remember I got back in my car when I went to go home, and this is the first song that I went to. I was like, this song is like crack for me. Like I can't. It's just so fucking good. It's so heavy.
you gotta listen to it like the
Yeah.
one dude that's in the meme, like when he's putting on the big speakers and it's about to, and he's gotta like sink down and be like,
Yeah.
that's how. Yeah,
And like
no,
the lyrics of the song are fucking insane too.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
think that's
God.
one thing that, like, at this point with, like, because it's hard not to mention because it's just such a cut above the rest. But I feel like at this point, you don't even really need to mention as much as we do. You don't need to mention with Spirit Box is just how good the lyrics and like the writing is, because I think I would be at this point I would be more surprised if the writing was just good rather than like like if I look at a Spearbox song and I look at the writing and I'm like, okay, this is just fucking written crazy. If I don't get that feeling, I'd be like, is Courtney okay? Like, did someone
Yeah.
else write this? Like, did someone else write this and just ask her to sing it? That's kind of weird.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, that I agree. This song, I remember this song coming on after Secret Garden. I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Holy. I was like,
Because I
I
was
was
like,
not ready.
I went into this. You gotta realize I went into this, and Holy Roller was fucking dirty. And then I was like, I don't know how anything can be heavier than that. And I was like, there's Yellowjacket. It's the third song on the album. And I was like, this isn't heavier than Holy Roller when I listened to it. Now, don't get me wrong. Yellowjacket is a fucking grade A song. It's like S tier.
Yeah.
But it just like it's like all these other S tier songs on this album. And that was like, that's what happened. I was like, okay, let me listen. Like Silk and the Strings came on, and I was like, how is this heavier than Holy Roller? And then it goes right into Holy Roller after that. And you're just like, I need a
You're like,
fucking
ah.
break. Like, let me breathe, please. And
You're like,
yeah,
I need adrenaline suppressants because I'm about to Tokyo drift my car right off the road and do donuts. Yeah.
so
No, dude, I agree because I think when I first heard Silk in the Strings, it's just like you said, I was just like I was not ready. Because I just remember the range of emotions I went through with this whole album was just insane. But Stoke in a String quite literally just punches the ever living shit out of you when it comes on. Like you're not ready for it. Like because I remember either seeing something or reading something about how Courtney, um, before she goes on, she has like a shot of something, um, just like one single shot before she goes on. It's like usually whiskey, and I'm like, I like to imagine like she was getting in the booth and she was just like before she went in, she was just like, and then just gonna go,
Yeah.
fucking shit. That like that image pops in my head of just like her like shooting back a shot and then just fucking ripping that mic off the wall.
Yeah. Like I gotta bring the breakdown up. Let me find this real quick. Hold on. Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah, it's just fucking.
Oh
And just once again, man, Mike loves bending those strings, dude.
my yeah.
Mike loves fucking bending those strings.
Oh my god. This song is just fucking insane.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my favorite song. I haven't even finished the album, but this is my favorite song. That's how I was.
Yeah.
And then it continued that way. But I do have like honorable mentions, of course. Yellowjacket
I
was
do
really
too.
good. Yellowjacket was really good. Summit and Eternal Blue are something that I have to kind of be in the mood for. But they're fucking insane songs. Don't get me wrong. They're
Yeah.
absolutely crazy with what she does with it. But the one that shocked me the most was We Live in a What is it? We Live in a What?
We live in a strange. Yup, that is the most honorable mention song ever. And like, and I think like if we were doing a tier list for this album, like an actual tier list of like the songs, it wouldn't be fair because nothing would be lower than A,
Yeah.
honestly. But this We Live in a Strange World would have to have its own tier. Like, what the fuck is this song?
Hmm.
Because I don't understand how a metal band takes a song, makes it half like EDM, and then just drops in like the fucking like some of like the fucking heaviest instrumentals, and it just transitions so perfectly. Like it makes
That's a
no
good point.
sense. Like We Live in a Strange World as a song concept on this album makes no sense, but it fits perfectly. And I think that is actually the perfect example of what Spiritbox is. Spiritbox is a band that just does shit that you would not think you can do in like heavy music, but you hear it and you're like, why does this feel like this has been around for like forever? Why does this feel like it fits so perfectly?
Hmm.
Because I remember hearing it and I was just like, it goes in, it's doing like the first intro and like the bass hits are going perfectly with like how she's singing when she was like when it's like the all they do is drop and like it does the fucking bass hits with it, and then it goes to that other the second verse, and it goes into the chorus, and then the instrumentals come in full swing. And I remember listening to it and being just like genuinely confused, but in the best way, because the whole time I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What am I listening to? Why does this sound so good? I hate EDM. Like I cannot listen to EDM at all. And it's nothing against this genre, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I listen to this and I'm like, why is this song so good? I don't understand it. It is the anomaly of this album. But, leave it to Spiritbox to just be like, look at each other and be like,
Yeah, we
you want
got
to put an
this.
electronic song? Yeah. Do y'all want to do an electronic song? Yeah, why not? And it just fucking works.
It just
You know, when
works.
and another band that does shit like that,
Ginger.
it wasn't enough that there was one band that I had that did shit like this. Now I've got another one.
So out of 10, what do you give this album?
You give it a rating first because my opinion might shock people.
I want to
Kind
hear
of,
you.
sort of.
I want to hear you. I want to hear you first.
So this is the part that I don't think people are going to find surprising.
Yeah.
Um, genuinely, so obviously music being subjective, right? I don't
Yeah.
think that my rating's going to surprise anyone. For me, it's an easy 10 out of 10. Like, because for one, like, easy. Like, it's
Yeah.
not even a question. I don't even
Yeah.
have to think about it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is no song on this album that is even mediocre. There's not even a single song on this album that's good. Every single song on this album is amazing in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Every single song is so meticulously placed that they transition into each one of them perfectly, and it almost feels like a palate cleanser when you get to some of them, because like you said, you have the first three tracks which could not be placed more perfectly, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have Summon to kind of bring you back down from it, and then you go into Secret Garden, and then you go into Silk in the Strings and Holy Roller, and it's fucking crazy again. And
Yeah.
then you go to like Eternal Blue, and Eternal Blue would kind of palate cleanses again. Like it kind of gives you like a more mellow song to get into. And then you get We Live in a Strange World, which once again, I don't know what the fuck that is, but we get it. And then it kind of builds back a little bit with Halcyon and Circle with Me, and then it comes down with Constance.
Mm-hmm.
Like listening to this album feels like a movie, 100%.
Yeah.
Like it just everything guides into the others so well.
Mm-hmm.
Every song has really brilliant writing, not just from Courtney, but from Mike and Bill. They both like Mike with the guitar and the drums and Bill with like the bass. Well, I think Mike did a good chunk of the bass on this song. I think only newer stuff Bill's going to be working on. Um and then just everything about it, like the use of like ambient sounds, like the different sounds they go with it. But yeah, it's just like this album is just incredible. Like this
Mm-hmm.
album is incredible, and this is the part where I'm people may disagree with me, but I don't give a shit. To me, this is a perfect album. This
Okay.
in terms of like album strength for me personally, for anyone that knows me, this is up there with Sum 41 All Killer No Filler with how good this album is. And
Yeah.
All Killer No Filler is one of my favorite albums of all time. I consider that a perfect album front to back. This album is on par with that to
Mm-hmm.
me because I can listen to every song on this album, not skip any of them. They all work perfectly together. Like I
Mm-hmm.
get the same like feeling, not in the exact same way, but I get the same feeling listening to this album as when I listened to that one. Like absolutely perfect album. There is nothing that I could even think to change on it if I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So when I give this album a rating, there's different things that I go into for this, right? You know the I listen to a lot of different music.
Yeah.
Um so I'm giving this sort of like two ratings, okay? Um Overall for this album, and I need to like let people realize this when I say this. There are plenty of albums that I think like that I would give this rating that I think are works of art. I can listen to every single song. It flows perfectly. But as like everything around me, I give this album an 8 out of 10. It's like amazing. Like there's nothing wrong with this album. It's just I give it an 8. But when it comes to the genre of metal music, this is a 10. This is a 10 for metal music in my opinion. It is the breath of fresh air that metal music needed. Um, they continue to change the rules of metal music, and
Mhm.
that's where this shines for me the most. Is I've talked about it before in our videos. I've talked about it with you before. Metal music went down a very bland path for like years, and they started you know changing that, and a lot of other
Breathing new
bands,
life into it.
yeah, a lot of other bands started following, um, not doing exactly what they're doing. I mean, we have like bands that came out like As Everything Unfolds, completely different than Spiritbox, but just very much bringing in different aspects of what they had when they grew up, you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, when it comes to metal music, this is a fucking 10 out of 10 for me personally. But
So,
compared to
what's your
everything else that's out there, I give it an 8. But yeah, metal music,
so
this is a 10.
when you're comparing it to everything else that's out there, just out of curiosity, like what are some of the things you're comparing it to that you would kind of give it like an 8 out of 10?
That I'm comparing it to, it's hard
Yeah.
because like you gotta look at it this way. Like I give Man on the Moon a 10 out of 10.
Hmm.
But there's different aspects of Man on the Moon for me. Like it helped me through dark times in my life. I think
So,
it
oh, okay, so you're talking about, okay,
the
I think
way
I
of
get what you're
like
saying.
the way of like the way that it just like for me it attached to me when the first time I turned on that
Mhm.
album. I was like, this is insane. It was like as corny as it sounds, it was like life changing when I heard that album,
Mhm.
and um, it still holds up. I think Kid Cudi's way of storytelling through albums is like untouchable almost.
Yeah.
Um, so like yeah, there's that one. Another album that I think is a 10 out of 10 is I gotta pull it up real quick.
So is your
The band's name is We Were Promised Jetpacks.
I
And
take
the
it they never got their
album
jetpacks.
and the album is These Four Walls. That is a 10 out of 10 album for me. Um, so yeah.
So is your first rating kind of more so a personal rating of like how you personally feel about the album?
How I personally, yeah, the way that it comes to, um, what's the best way to describe that? When it comes to music for me, um, there's like an overall feel, yeah, when it comes to
Yeah.
that. But metal music is one of the, it's the one that I've been around the most. I've been down rabbit holes of
Hmm.
different genres, like subgenres. So I'm very meticulous when it comes to metal music.
Yeah.
So that's why I can go back and be like, in this area right here of metal music, this is a 10 out of 10. But like all around, I all around from everything that's like around me, I give it an 8 out of 10. And an 8 out of 10, the best way to describe that is like it's like my love of Hot Rod. Hot Rod is not like a
Yeah.
fucking 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's like easily
Yeah.
a 60 on Rotten Tomatoes, but like you're going to get an earful from me if you haven't seen Hot Rod, because in my eyes, is it 100%? No, but it is like the perfect movie. Like it's just
Yeah.
amazing. It flows
So like
together, everything.
that rating is more so like in terms of like everything you listening to, how much you prefer to like listen to that album. Like how much it fits like
Mhm.
your taste compared to everything else that you listen to.
Yeah.
Um okay, that
Mhm.
makes sense. Cuz I was trying to get the difference between like the two ratings.
Yeah.
Like um mainly just because I think me and maybe some other people just wouldn't have known the difference. That's why I want to clarify. But no,
Mhm.
I mean that makes sense 100%.
Yeah.
Because I think like for me, you can definitely judge it like from like an objective, like how good the quality, like and all that stuff is, and then you can definitely judge it for like what what can be like the impact on music, especially heavy music from this
Mhm.
album. And I think that's the crazy thing about this album is I think you're because I was talking to my sister TD and her boyfriend Tim, for anyone who hasn't heard anything about them. Um, but like you see all the articles going on around them and all the people talking on social network, and I think this band, and especially this album, we're going to start seeing a pretty significant change in the
Hmm.
way heavy music is, because even if people don't like follow this formula, I think this is a very good catalyst of how people are going to start challenging the way that heavy music is approached.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because I
Hmm.
love that, because I want to see people innovate metal like this. Like, what crazy shit can we like implement into this metal song? What are the crazy things we can do? Please not like the weird, like shitty rap, like metal stuff. I love rap. I love metal. I don't like when they're half-assed together. Like, do that. I haven't seen a band in a while do that shit really well, but like, for God's sakes, please don't do like the Ice Nine Kills route and shit like that. Cause like I don't want to, and like Hollywood Undead, like I want to die if I hear that. But like I want to see people like challenge it, like the way like Denzel Curry did like his Bulls on Parade cover. Like I would fucking kill to see him do a metal album. You
Hmm.
know, I want to see more stuff like that. Um, but no, I like it's crazy. Like I'm really anxious to see what Spiritbox does next,
Yeah.
and I'm ready for Delta variant and like COVID to calm down a little bit, so I can go fucking see them live.
Another reason why for metal music I give this a 10 out of 10 is because it's like you were talking about all the attention that this band is getting, and it's they're they're like the gateway, I feel like, for a lot of people to accept like this heavy music again. I mean, there's plenty of other bands out there that were like that, like what, like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Hasn't really been like that anymore. And Spiritbox is
Mm.
like, we're not making any sacrifices on anything. Take us how we are.
Yeah.
And people are taking them as they are. They're noticing. And Spiritbox is a huge, just, what is the word? I can't even think of a word for it. They're just like, the metal music needed Spiritbox.
Yeah, because
They
like
needed
you
it.
need a band that has like multifaceted sounds like that, right? Because like the big thing with Spirit Box is that, not like we said, like a couple of my favorite, like two of my favorite songs on this album, there's like next to no screaming on it.
Hmm.
And people can, and there are a lot of people, like TD's one of these people, where she likes the instrumentals, but she doesn't really like the screaming anymore. And like when Mr. Forehead was listening to it, she's like, I like the instrumentals, but the screaming and the vocals are a little bit like jarring, because like you're not ready for it, and it's so different. Like when you grow up with your mainstream media or mainstream music being mostly like pop, rap, like R&B, like none of those have extreme vocals, and if they do, they're very, very, very sparse, and those are more usually like underground artists. So when you hear stuff like that, it's very jarring. Like you're not ready for it. Like
Hmm.
a perfect example, like you go from Secret Guarding to Silk and the Strings. Like I fucking listen to his music all the time. I still wasn't ready for it. I like it, but I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for it. But
You know,
like it's Spirit Box is just like you said. I think they were a really good band where you can listen to some of their stuff and then start leaning into the heavier stuff, because it's just like you said. Like when I was going back and I was rewatching Jersey Shore, like there were Atreyu songs
hmm,
like in that show, and Atreyu's like straight metalcore, and it was like that with bands like like Korn and Linkin Park, and there was a lot of like metal bands that were just like thrown into media that you just don't see anymore. But I think we can start, and we may end up seeing that more coming around now.
yeah, and this just popped in my head. Our generation and like Courtney's generation, we had Slipknot. Like
Yeah.
Slipknot was the punch in the face for heavy music. Got kids into heavy music. Different genres came because of Slipknot. This is this generation's Slipknot. Is
Hmm.
what Spirit Box is, and that's my opinion. You don't have to agree on that, but
I
this
I agree a hundred
generation,
percent.
this generation got Spirit Box, and it that's the best way that I could describe Spirit Box
Yeah.
is it's this generation's Slipknot.
And
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 that's
I
all
mean,
that's like it that's
that's a heavy
yeah.
statement because like, obviously new metal was a very strange subgenre period. And like you had a lot of big heavy hitters, which like obviously like Linkin Park's thrown in there, but like they're kind of the weird one. You had obviously like Limp Bizkit, you had Korn and Slipknot. Slipknot end up being the biggest one, but like Korn's still fucking massive. Like you say Korn and people still like know what that band is.
Mhm.
But you're right. Slipknot was that band that really mainstreamed heavy music and changed the way heavy music was. I mean, they're so big they have their own fucking festival every year.
Yeah.
Like they have their own festival where other bands come to perform and then Slipknot headlines. Like what other band has that? Like fucking nobody. But like obviously we won't know the impact Spiritbox has until like 10, 20 years down the road. But I absolutely agree that I think if any band has the ability right now to have the type of impact Slipknot has, I think it's Spiritbox. And I can only imagine the kind of pressure that they might feel with getting all of this attention and stuff like that. But honestly, I think if they just keep doing what they're doing, because they're not a gimmicky band at all.
Mm-mm.
Like they don't have any gimmicks. They're just like, we're a really fucking good band and we just do whatever we feel like doing and it works. And I think if they just keep doing that, like they're just gonna naturally innovate music. And I just give me more, man. Just give me more. I'm like at a Brazilian steakhouse, and they're cutting the meat off of the saber with the sabers. I'm just like, keep going, don't stop. I'm just gonna eat it while you're cutting it off.
Yeah. My I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up because we're gonna almost be at an hour here, but I'm sure that's what majority of the people wanted to hear us talk about this for a good bit. But
Yeah, and I don't think you see album reviews or like, and
yeah,
like some people might be short, but I think most
yeah,
people are like, okay, this might be a little bit longer.
yeah. So we'll do that. I'm gonna close this out. Before I close it out though, Frankie and I we were talking about this. We are thinking we're not thinking we're gonna give it a shot just to see how it goes. You and I we both like interacting with fans. It is kind of hard sometimes when videos start to get like we've had Ginger videos like blow up kind of, and it's just very hard to keep up with people on those videos. It can be a bit overwhelming sometimes, but what we want to do is we want to start streaming. We'll probably I don't know. We'll figure out the date. It'll be either at the end of the week or on the weekend. Still trying to figure that out. But we'll make a post on our Instagram. We might make a little video to let you know. But we want to do that. We want to go over just music, review the music on there. And then it's a good way to just talk with subscribers about music. You guys can give us suggestions. And we can listen to the music that you recommend and we can all talk about that. But yeah, go ahead and hit that bell button. And you'll know whenever we go live. And then we'll, of course, schedule it. And you can set a reminder on the scheduled stream, which is a really cool part about streaming on YouTube. But yeah, go ahead after that shameless plug of us trying to stream. Go ahead, like the video if you like this video. Of course, as usual, like I just talked about, hit the bell so that you know when a new video comes out, and subscribe if you just want to keep up with us. But I'm AJ.
I'm Frankie.
And until next time, we are the Den of Weebs, and we will see you later. Goodbye.